It is time for the biggest and fattest conclusion of a, well, not really existent series ever, because this was never a full commissioned series. It was just some idiot on the internet making videos for fun. How weird. It's time for the T-10 again. And if you thought I took a break after last time's video in recording this footage, I didn't. This is all still the same recording. It's about 4.5 hours worth of recording, this entire video, so that's pretty much the level of commitment I had that day. It literally did not matter if I sucked out, had the best game in the universe. I would have still continued and then had a shit game the very next game anyway. Have you noticed where we are on the map, by the way? In comparison to like the enemy base and the enemy. We completely dominated the north so badly that all we had to do was just drive south and kill everything in our rampage, because that was just the kind of game this apparently was. I was constantly in the perfect position. Shoot a Skoda in the cupola, I don't care. RNG was somewhat on my side this game, and with somewhat I mean it was fantastic. See, if this was World of Tanks, always I'd play it constantly, no matter what. For some reason, if you like hit shots and you have good RNG, and the enemy team is stupid, for some reason World of Tanks is fun. I don't quite understand. It's like, you have fun, and then you have fun. So there must be some sort of correlation in there. Don't quite get it. Too difficult for me to understand. All I am doing is aiming my little green dot at the enemy tanks, and then I press my button to do damage. Simply that. This game was just that. For some reason people just drove out in front of me. And right now, it's a turkey shoot. So this was pretty cool. This is a pretty good start to the video. But for me, it was literally just smack bang in the middle of the entire recording. And this was just another game. I mean, I was quite happy with it. Because, you know, I've done so much damage already. And there's going to be more of it. I was destined to rise in the mark. But holy shit. I was tired as well. Because maybe 2 hours doesn't sound like much. But for me, as a person who is really not consistent enough to get marks, let alone third marks, this was a good feeling.
Don't stop me, 'cause I'm having a good time, having a good time.
The hype train has pulled into the station. All aboard. Choo choo.
And we are departing the hype train because we have arrived on Paris. I did quite a bit of driving on Paris, by the way. I went to where I was shooting the Tiger II, then I went back into the middle shooting the T-25 Pilot, and now back to the bridge shooting the M103, because I realized that there weren't going to be a whole lot of enemies here in the south. So me being a top tier heavy tank for once, I could really push the advantage and, well, scare the shit out of the enemy team, because for some reason the M103 was stock, which actually was really good for me. Their Centurion 7-1 didn't come this side, and their T-49 had no reason to be on this side, so I had pretty much free range with using my armor towards these tanks. Even though the T-10 doesn't have the best armor, if it's top tier in a good matchup, its armor is actually really good. And now we just find a AFK IS-3 chilling in base with his cock out, and we have the best RNG to shoot him in the track to make sure that we don't only do damage, but also get some tracking damage out of it, which, as we all know, is really good towards your mark. And that was it. I was too slow to get the Lorraine. Yep.
Sometimes I use normal lube and I get it in my mouth a little bit, and now it'll taste good.
I was actually kind of shocked to see that I had a good game on Paris. And then I got Himmelsdorf, and I thought this is going to be great, because I always have good games on Himmelsdorf. It turns out that the Curse of Paris just waited one game, because it took really long for me to finally find a position where I could do damage. Going to the hill had no point. We won the hill very convincingly. So I had to go down again, and then I went to the 2-line where I found that, you know, that's a pretty bad place for a T-10. And I went to the middle and I found the T-54 and the Skoda. But this was the game that I can only describe as RNG reversed. Where in Westfield I had perfect RNG, hit every shot and people missed or bounced, I kind of have that now. People hit me without really aiming, and I try and only pen at max half my shots. It sucked.
Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust.
You ever thought about how sex works between a pig and a frog? It's not fun. Nobody wins in that scenario.
I don't think anyone has ever thought about sex between a pig and a frog. Anyway, this video, by the way, this was literally, for me, one video too many. I ran out of voice clips or sound clips to use during showing the mark percent. Yeah, so that was a bit of a scramble. I'm not going to lie. This game sucked, by the way, the game that's currently playing here on Mountain Pass. But I just kind of... It's not easy for me to make this video knowing it will be the last video for most likely ever. Bit scary. But let's not dwell on that too long. Let's enjoy the shit RNG I'm gonna have and the fact that this team literally just waited and died. Everyone waited and died. They got died so hard, they got lifted into the air and then died. Did harder. So hard that there's died. A lot of death. God, fuck.
She's a killer queen, gunpowder gelatine, dynamite with a...
No, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, no, my penis is too small.
2 shit games in a row and we are in Karelia. And yes, I know, it's taken very long. And the enemy team was already 4 tanks down for me to finally do the first amount of damage. I can't really remember why. I mean, I edited the footage yesterday and today I'm recording the voice. And I just honestly can't remember why it took so long. But it's fine, I guess, because we're still alive. And for some reason this i7 really wants to shoot me. This is... You know what? I can describe this game as the focus fill game. Not everyone on the enemy team literally just wants to shoot me. And I'm really just in a really terrible open position here. But the T-55A was like, oh, let's shoot Phil instead of like the T-34 or the Batchat. This SU-101 really wants to focus me. That i7 earlier decided to aim at me instead of the Type 61. And this 5100 is surrounded, but aims for me. I don't get it.
We will rock you.
It's not a tumor. It's not a tumor.
It is a tumor. Maybe it's just this big fat tumor that says, shoot Phil, shoot him in the dick, you'll love it. Which I really won't. This Moshin really just wanted to have a poking battle with me, but I mean, I am premium. I don't really care if you have cheeks. I mean, side scraping in the T-10 is incredibly difficult, because if you side scrape, you make your upper front plate flat because it's a pike nose. So all he had to do was just aim for my cheeks and he would have really easily dealt damage to me or even killed me. But he missed or bounced every single shot he fired. And this Tiger 1 is... I'm sorry, he is stock, he is 2 tiers lower than I am. I'm not even gonna really think about him shooting at me. I have time to think of maybe aiming at other people, but I kind of feel bad because he had nothing. He couldn't do anything this game except for just die. I kind of feel bad for him. I've been in this situation. I know how it feels. I've played the Tiger 1 stock and I really kind of wanted to quit playing that line at that point. I hated the Tiger 1. But I love the Tiger 2, and I, you know, as you probably know, adore the E75. Anyway, we go on to kill the T-34 and the T-25 pilot. We keep on driving and shoot the FV-4-202 in the butt. Meanwhile, we are getting rather pummeled by artillery. We've taken 3 shots from the GW Panther already, and that's not going to just be it. However, we have time to kill the CDC before we take another shot from artillery, and that's the M4043. Now remember that there's an M4043 because I forgot. I thought that was the GW Panther again. That AMX-57 has the best RNG in the world with his RNG aiming at me, but he sits there for just 1 shot too long. We shoot him and keep on driving right in time for the GW Panther to hit us again. And now I think I can kill Arty and we can finally be safe from artillery. I was really confused to see Arty still shoot at me for 419!
I want to break free. I want to break free.
Knock knock. It's the United States.
With their artillery, and even though the United States had that artillery, it wasn't enough to stop us from getting yet another ace tanker. Back on Westfield, of course, we have that really good memory from Westfield a couple of games ago, so, you know, there's always in the back of your mind the idea that you can repeat what you did in the previous map or game on this map. But this time it's different. The enemy team actually brought tanks to this side. We don't have a super duper looper aggressive team for us to just push and win this flank with conviction. No. This time we have to just do the boring poking fight. And fire. Pull back. Drive forward. Shoot. Take a shot. Pull back. The usual. It's just water tanks corridor fighting. There's no artillery. So we can actually just poke play and sit out in the open without constantly having to move and cry and shit because artillery is there. We want to shoot the Su-101 in the side, but the Oho drives out with his fat penis and takes our shot instead. Second time was good though. Find ourselves a Ferdinand. We drive by, shoot him in the track and don't care. We keep on driving. Maybe we can get another full shot off. We probably won't and just kill him instead. There's a tortoise to our right, so let's keep on driving to get behind the tank. Fast forward because we don't do anything to the tortoise, so we find an E-75 camping where the artillery should have been. I think that he is playing artillery and then he found that he wasn't playing artillery and decided to just sit there and wait for his demise. I think we have all been there. When you pick a tank, you start the battle, and then you forget what tank you were playing and think, oh, I thought it was this one, without really noticing or looking at the actual tank you're playing. Start driving towards the position and realize that it wasn't actually the tank you're playing. For example, you take your heavy tank to the medium flank because you thought you were playing a Soviet medium instead of a Soviet heavy. I've done that a couple of times, but sometimes it works out because, for example, the T-10 is a Heavium. Heavium? Mevi. It's fast enough to play with the medium, so that's fine. Well, we find ourselves a Soviet heavy and a Soviet medium. To our surprise, we kill the Soviet medium. I think I'm having a stroke. That's fantastic. Holy shit. The 705 dies. And now we finally find ourselves surrounded by all sorts of tank destroyers. The Scorpion, the Grill, and the T-28. And it's the T-28 that wins the lottery.
I got a couple pictures of Phil out in my house on the wall. May or may not have photoshopped his undies off.
Even though I like Cliff, I don't think I have a lot of good games on it. I don't know what it is about Cliff, but sometimes you have that team that dies within the first 2 minutes while you are still driving towards the position you want to be in. And this was kind of another times of those cases, because look at the 1-2 line. How many tanks are there? Both from my team and the enemy team. Holy shit, the enemy team is just piling through that. Like it's... insert sexual joke there. Something gang bang and Japanese little girls waiting for the next round. I don't know. I'm kind of tired. We get flanked by a light tank on top of the hill. Artillery is focusing us. My team isn't really looking confident on this side anymore. And if I would have sat there, I would have died to the lightweight. So I have to drive up and over underneath him. And we get back to our own base. But that lightweight was persistent. So persistent that he suicided himself on me.
Couple turd stains and a jizz napkin in there. Never seen anything like it.
Sometimes, though, you get on Ensk. And even though I really like Ensk more than I like Cliff, for example, I never do good on Ensk. I just never, ever do good on Ensk. For some reason, I'm too aggressive, show far too much of my tank, and then die, because I feel that if you don't take this middle position, you lose this game. However, I've had teams where we did take that position, and we still lost the game. And sometimes that really results in panic, horrendous death, anger, loss of tank.
My disappointment is immeasurable. And my day is ruined.
So, something that was obviously my own fault, because honestly I played that game very terrible, was for me to switch server. That's the only solution to me playing shit. Get different teams, get a different map rotation going in, because servers really kind of do have the same map rotation. If you switch server, you might just get completely different maps, and that's exactly what happened. We got Erlenberg. I've not seen that map yet, so that's pretty cool. Finally getting some difference in there, even though I don't know if that's good, because sometimes you don't want different things. For if I could choose, I would get like a lot of Himmelsdorf, or wait, what map do I actually like in World of Tanks? Well, certainly not Paris. Certainly not Prokhorovka. Although Prokhorovka, if there's no artillery. I actually really enjoy Prokhorovka if there's no artillery. But Erlenberg, after the HD rework and the complete just everything rework of this map, is I quite enjoy it. I like it a lot better than before. Before it was just wait 15 minutes and then the game's over. And this new Erlenberg, even though there are positions where tank destroyers can camp without being spotted, every map has that. You cannot remove those bushes really, because that's the whole deal of tank destroyers. I enjoy it more than before. And you probably have noticed that the old, welcome and well-known music is back. This music is the music I used to get marks if I had trouble, because like I said before, it really pumps me up, it gets me going, gets the blood flowing, gets the adrenaline going, and then you realize that for some reason a T-34-100 can easily pen a T-10 with AP in the front of the tank and he kills us, and I'm really confused.
Have you ever seen a grown man naked?
Yes, I've looked in the mirror before. And straight away, Wargaming, or World of Tanks, or the matchmaking, whoever you want to blame, gives us Glacier, another snow map. I mean, yeah, I wanted different maps, but I mean, it doesn't have to be all snow. Glacier is, I don't know, I still cannot put my hands, or feet, or penis on Glacier. I cannot figure it out. You can go north, next to all the sunken ship on the ice, and then I can't really fight there, but then again, I don't know. I don't know in what category to put this map. Is it open like Malinovka? Or is it like kind of closed, but not really? Take for example Steps. Steps is open, but people don't hate it as much as Prokhorovka. And I guess that Glacier falls into that same category. It's open, but not too open. And I guess that kind of works. Still hate it. There is always a Scorpion G. There is literally just always one waiting to shit on your parade. El Haluf! We haven't seen El Haluf yet, and we start off this game pretty bad. I drove up into the middle. I mean, I guess where the 430U is not the middle of the map, where the T-62A is. And I didn't do anything there. Then I drove around and found myself on this corner where finally we can start doing some damage. And we can finally start doing some heavy damage, even though the T-30 hits us, but he's firing high explosive, so it does minimal damage. I don't really like that new hit marker you get when someone hits you for high explosive. I liked it more when it was just a small crack in the hull with a big black splash around it. Instead, it's now just a hole. High explosive doesn't make a perfectly round hole. It should crack the whole armor. It should give a big black splash around it. I really don't understand why Wargaming changed that. Anyway, we have driven up. The people on that corner were really uncertain if they wanted to stay there, and you think I'd have an easy kill on the T-10 there, but I just did it because the RNG exists. They die though, and we keep on poking for the 257. I think it's time for me to finally drive out and push this flank a bit more. If I die now, I'd had a decent game, but I don't die. Instead, we kill the defender. There's an STRV camping in base, and that raid boss is the last one we're gonna shoot.
In my opinion, that sucked.
I know, but now we're back on the beaches of Normandy. Have I seen this map yet? I don't think I've seen this map yet while playing the T-10. We find ourselves a Tiger, defender of the homeland, and we shoot him. Yak Panther, defender of the homeland, and we shoot him. Even though we're in France, it was kind of the Germans that do defenses on the beaches of Normandy, because the Americans and the British and the Canadians and whoever were active in D-Day came rushing in with boats, war boats. Shoot the Tiger again though, that's pretty cool. But we're kind of losing this game, and I have to make a decision. Do I keep on pushing, or do I go back? And I make the decision to go back. Mosquito dealt with, and now we can continue focusing and defending our own base from the M103 and the Su-152. You may think that I was going to go for damage, but I kind of want to win this game because I felt like I could win this game for my team. We kill the SU, we kill the Yak Panther, we find ourselves the GW Tiger, and we don't get to roll really high to kill him, so he stays alive. And he'll stay alive to annoy us because it's artillery. If it isn't a Mosquito ELC even 90, then it is the big fat pig dropping fat pieces of shit on top of you. And I'm gonna cut this part down because I mess up bad against this M103. He gets my side and he just straight up kills me. I f***ed up.
It's a pile of balls.
Hey, Muravanka again. Remember last time in this video, a couple of games ago, we were on Muravanka? I went into the middle and got gangbanged by tank destroyers. Yeah, this time it was really different. I went into the middle, saw no one. Came back, type 4 appeared. But I was already back and there were people coming along the red line because this was one of those games where people really wanted to play fast. And eventually we killed the people going into our base, we killed a type 4 heavy, and SDRV has a magical shot on us. I don't know how that works. But we keep on driving because we have to kill people. The T-54 makes the mistake of poking out and shooting. Well, trying to shoot me, but I kill him instead. A stock 257 pokes out, and 257s will 257. Heat into the upper plate while it's angled towards me, doesn't pen. So I'm gonna have to poke out and take a shot. And guess who? It's the Americans. Thanks, America.
Hey everybody, we're all gonna get late!
Third snow map of the day, Mannerheim line. We wait until someone makes the mistake. It's a T-10, but we were so far poked out that he gets another shot off on us. Maybe someone can track that guard so we can put a shot. That's also fine. Kinda didn't expect that to happen, but it was kinda good for us because now we can go down where that guard was going to be and shoot everyone from here. Yes, there's going to be an artillery that's probably going to try and hit us from here, aggressively poking this side. Our team is also winning the northern flank, so artillery has to make a decision, and they're not going to be always shooting at us, I hope. Now, this side isn't really that good for the T-10. The T-10 only sports 5 degrees of gun depression. A Super Conqueror would have been great. You know what else would have been great? What Soviet tank? The ST-1. With 8 degrees of gun depression, an ST-1 could have worked this side so much better than the T-10, but I'm making the best of it, I guess. One more shot in the 257, and after that, it's time to push. And I know that it's going to be Artie shooting at me, but it's not. It's the Charioteer, cutting my game short.
Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
Well, I mean, the next game is happening. It's Redshire. I mean, there's worse maps that I could have imagined getting on. Like, well, all of the open maps. Redshire has at least some buildings, some covers, some hills. And it starts with a T-30 who thinks there's no one here. But I am a speedy boy. I am quite fast, actually, for a T-10, for a heavy tank. So the T-30 really didn't expect me to come here. I was actually quite happy and cheery this game, talking to my team. Some guy was like, hey, do you wanna join our clan? I'm like, what does it have to offer? And then he said, like, really irregular gameplay and no one online. So it's pretty much the same as the clan I'm in now. QSFE is kind of dead. It's just where I chill. It's fine. And I'm kind of an asshole here, trying to side scrape like this. Side scraping, like I said in the Siegfried Line video in the T-10, is incredibly difficult. But if you manage to do it well, and your enemy team doesn't really know where to shoot, or their RNG is fantastically terrible, then you can pull it off. The motion, I'm sorry M4, I'll say motion, actually manages to pen me there, and I am quite sad face about it. The AMX thinks he is hard enough, pokes again, gets shot again, and pulls back without doing damage, and that's what I like to see in my enemy team. The FV4202 has driven past our Chrysler, and I feel that it is up to me to help him. I'll come and save you. But if I can shoot the 257 instead of the FV4202, that's fine as well. I've got premium loaded. I don't think FV comes sliding into view. I'll just shoot you. That's okay. I'm fine with that. If you look on the minimap, we've got an SU-101 like a kilometer behind us, and he's actually really helping us. I get to kill the FV-4202, and now I can really push up and help the Chrysler a bit 2 more shells of heat left, and I'm not sure if I can win this flank with no more heat left. The Martian is a pretty difficult tank to pen. The 257 with all of its angles and spaced and whatever armor is a bitch to kill, but eventually it's the SU-101 from 14 miles away that does it. I kill the AMX-65T, and we have finally actually kind of won this flank. But even if you win this flank, it's really scary and difficult to push. That Martian over there is having a bit of a wiggle, and we can't really kill him. The artillery gets spotted after he's been pissing on us for the last couple of minutes. The Chrysler tracks him, or someone else tracks him, or he just stopped. Well, that was weird. Can't really tell who tracked him. He goes unspotted, but I'm using my fill senses to still kill him. There's not just a Lorraine in there in the back, it's a Otis. So I line up my shot, I aim, I fire, and I didn't see a splash on the ground. The Uda still continues to shoot me. I aim again, I fire. This time I see a splash. So I think I hit the Udas earlier. And the fact that he's lost health is a confirmation of that fact. A lot of nothing happens, and we see ourselves a T-25 pilot on the other side of the map. We could still lose this, I just kinda don't want to. Put one more shot into the T-25 pilot, he dies, and all that is left this game is a Type 61. And we kill him with style.
We are the champions. We are the champions.
My success means that you guys will have a happy new year, and it's been an honor making videos for you people.
It's nothing to me.